I'm sure anybody that has been in a pressure situation, your stomach might start to do some funny things, which I mean is normal, right? It's like, yeah, usually there's a bathroom close just in case. So they're walking us under, and my stomach is starting to do some funny things. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, okay, I really need to use the bathroom right now, and it doesn't seem like there's a bathroom in sight. And there's no way I'm about to go in front of this big ass stadium and try to jump, having to use the bathroom the way that I need to use the bathroom.
Today in the core room, we are joined by American triple jumper Chris Benard, a multi-time All-American, two-time Olympian, and World Championship finalist. From grinding through JUCO at Riverside City College to navigating the pressure of US trials in one of the deepest eras ever, Chris breaks down the technical battles of the event, injuries and longevity, mindset, core room stories, and the transition into coaching. This is Chris Benard. Welcome to the core room.
So first questions. We just want to learn new things about your origins, or maybe just tell us your story. How did you get on the track? Did triple jump choose you, or did you choose triple jump? How would you
Sure.
explain your story?
So I would say, hold on, I'm getting my notes. Triple jump kind of, it's very rare that triple jump doesn't choose the person. Like, not much people just like choose triple jump and it works out for them. It's like usually people are like, I want to try triple jump, and then they get like brutally abused by the event, and then they stop. But definitely for myself, I just like a couple of my friends from high school. They were uh, they were upperclassmen, and they advised me to try track and field, and I was like, yeah, I'll try it. They knew I was a good like athletic guy. They know I can jump well at football practice, and I came out. I was like maybe our third best long jumper on the team at the time. This is my junior year in high school, and
Okay.
I was maybe our second or third best triple jumper. And I would say like, I barely made it to conference. Then my senior year, I got stronger, I guess. I was already getting strong from football. And then my friend that was an upperclassman, he had the school record. He went to University of Tennessee, and he got a little bit of coaching by his name was Jerome Romaine. He was a Caribbean triple jumper, and he was a coach at Tennessee at the time. And he came back during the winter break and like gave me a couple of cues, my friend. And then I ended up PBing during winter break. Then like first meet of the season, I PB again, go 43 feet, 44 feet, 45 feet, 46 feet. Then my friend comes back again for like spring break. So it's like a couple months in between. And he teaches me how to bound. And then I go like a little bit further, 46 feet. I'm jumping store because I never bounded before. I'm like, what is this pain I'm feeling in my legs? Like, why would you put me through this? And then after that, I went 49 feet after learning how to bound. And then after that, I wasn't a football player anymore.
Okay. Yeah, what
Mm.
position did you play when you played football?
I was a wide receiver and a punter.
Oh wow. Okay, a punter too.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
yeah, yeah,
exciting.
yeah, yeah. I could boot it.
And you went to JUCO from high school, right? And
Yep,
after JUCO, you went to Arizona State University.
that's right.
So was there any reality check from JUCO? Like what was the difference? What was the change, in you when you went from JUCO to D1? What were the main differences and how did you go with that progress?
So I mean, the main reason why I even went to JUCO was like I wouldn't call myself lazy, but I wasn't call myself that motivated either. It was like I was there to do things that I enjoy. I was in school to do things that I enjoy. I was naive, and so I was there to run track, but wasn't really there to push myself. I enjoyed being out there with my friends. I enjoyed that I was good at it. And then I would say my sophomore year at JUCO, I buckled down. I was like, okay, I'm just going to do my work, my classwork, and I'm going to do my workouts with like intention. And I started lifting twice a day as well because I had a class that I had that was like a lifting class where I could just do like leg extensions, hamstring curls, calf raises, things like that, where I'm just lifting. And once I buckled down, I saw like another 2 foot, 2 to 3 foot improvement during my sophomore year. So I was like, okay, yeah, this is working, and that's when I got my scholarship to Arizona State. But once I got to Arizona State, I realized how fast people were that are serious about the sport. Because like JUCO, it's like they're sprinters, and the sprinters are fast, but the sprinters are they're just naturally fast. They don't really have to do anything. And I happened to be at a really good junior college in California, so we had guys that can go 10-3, 10-5, and I might have been like a 10-8 guy on a really good day. And that's like a really good day. But when I got to ASU and I got thrown into the workouts with the sprinters because we all did our conditioning together, and it's like if I don't push myself, I'm getting dusted. And everybody's pushing themselves. So that was a reality check. And I have a really close friend that was a triple jumper at RCC with me. He's a year younger than me, and like same thing, where I went to my college, then I came back and I did a workout with them over at RCC, and he always tells me when I came back from ASU, I was so much faster. I was just like yeah, because he was a really good triple jumper as well, and we used to kind of compete against each other in our speed and in our jumps. But he was like, no, your speed was different once you got back to ASU, and that was legitimately just from running with people that were faster than me and me pushing myself to just try to keep up with them.
Okay.
You know,
Um,
Alex is a jumper. I'm not a field event athlete. I'm just a distance runner. So obviously, I'm a big fan of the sport, but I'm not an expert. I wouldn't call myself an expert of this field. However, I still see that you guys like just sprint. Then there are three different phases, like the hop, the step, and the jump. And I'm just really curious, which of these three phases is the quote unquote the problem child that gives you the most headaches?
Yeah. So I think people would assume if you have any knowledge about the jumps that it's the second phase. Second phase is very difficult, of course. Um, but for me personally, it was always my last phase that I think was a detriment to my distance. I was always powerful enough to get off of my second phase, and it's like historically, if you've seen me jump, it looks like I have a very long second phase. But because of that, I would like lose a lot of speed, and on a lot of my best jumps, I had a good second phase or good to great, but if I would decelerate if I decelerated too much, then my jumps would falter, and that deceleration would um, pretty much happen in how I'm attacking the ground on my third phase. So um, I guess I won't say it was my third phase. It's like transition from second to third, and how I properly affect that, I would say was the problem child. So it's like yeah, not one because I mean it's a combination of three things that kind of makes it work. And like you can get like two-thirds of it right and still mess up the last third, or you can get like one third wrong and then the whole thing is just like messed up. But yeah, I would say transition from second to third was my my biggest issue.
Gosh, I mean, based on what you just said, like it's to me it seems like the most like technically difficult event of track and field. However, some people say that shot put is like difficult and very different from the other throwing events too. But like triple jump is definitely up there. And you know, before the podcast, I just checked the all-time lists. And I was surprised. Like, let's say you jump 18 meters at least, that would put you in top six. But like, I would still say that the number one position is kind of untouched and has been untouched for a long time.
Yeah.
Do you see someone by any chance who might have the potential of breaking Jonathan Edwards' mythical 1829 world record, or not at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so I really thought Christian could break it. Even like Will or Picardo, a lot of guys have gone over 18. Not a lot, but like within this last generation, we've seen some really good triple jumpers. But I think with how athletic those guys are and the fact that they weren't able to break the record, it speaks to how difficult it really is. But with that being said, Jordan Diaz, the Spanish triple jumper, the one that won the Olympics. I think it's Jordan Diaz. He's scary. That kid, he's tall and he's elastic and he's got great posture and when his 18-meter jump, it looked like he kind of fell out of it like to memory. So I think that he can, especially as he gets older and his positions develop. I think he can get a good scare at the world record. And then also another freak, like alien type triple jumper is Jaden Hibbert, the Jamaican kid. He's young, and no, what I've seen him do from short approach is second to none up to this point. So I think that those two guys, and I'm sure that there's some other guys that are also doing some great things, but just in terms of like freak natural ability, and because that's kind of like the big difference maker. Like Jonathan Edwards, he grew into having like a freak like natural, not well, I won't say natural because he grew into it, but like a freakish ability. And but I think the only people that can like outdo him would be people that were better than him at a younger age that also had his same work ethic and understanding. And when somebody puts that together, it's I think they'll be able to break it. So I think within the next like decade, probably before the 2032 Olympics, somebody will break it.
So we wanted to talk about a little bit about the American Olympic trials. So the USA, you guys have tremendous amount of talented athletes. And we both know that you guys have a little bit different system of getting to the Olympic like we have in Hungary. Like if you can make the roster and you have the standard or you're in the world rankings, you make the Olympics. In the USA, sometimes the trials are even more competitive than the Olympics. And we just
Yeah,
want to ask, like, if I'm not mistaken, there was a trial when you had to jump 1720 just to make the Olympic team. And I just wanted to
yeah.
talk a little bit about what kind of pressure it is before an Olympic trial and before the Olympics. Like once you make the Olympics, is it like a cherry on the cake, you know?
Yeah.
Like what was the difference about the pressure and how do you time your form for each competition?
Yeah, so it's trials is the pressure. I agree with what you're saying about like Olympics. Kind of, it's so it really depends on your level of you as an athlete. So for certain people that they're it's not a positive they're not positive that they're going to make the team, but they know like the way that they've been performing throughout the year, like the team is pretty much like almost automatic. Like it would be more devastating for them to not make the team. And for those athletes, I won't say that trials is the or that the Olympics is the cherry on top because they pretty much expected it. But for a lot of us, with the level of competitiveness of the country, we don't know if we're going to make it or not. So we really do have to approach it like do or die. And that is because Olympics isn't do or die for most of us. It's like I did it and now I I get to like live in it. And that's easy to get lost in, but with trials, it's like you have to have such a laser focus just to make sure that you are ready to compete. And it's definitely a lot of pressure, and I think it can get to some, depending on if you have the right big picture mindset or not. But I know for myself, like that, like leading into trials, it was like getting ready for war. Like it was all other thoughts or feelings about what's going on has nothing to do with the fact that I have to compete at this time on this day and I have to bring my best ability or I'm not going to make it. And whether I know that to be fact or not, believing that is what's going and only thinking about that is what's going to allow me to try to perform the best that day and live in the moment, not get caught up in if I had a bad jump on my first one or if I had a great jump and then I get passed in the third round. It's like, look, you got to stay locked in until that sixth jump is finished and the meet isn't over until that sixth jump is finished. So yeah, just mindset definitely helped with the pressure, but it's definitely a lot of pressure.
And it's also really difficult. So since when you compete against your own countrymen, they're gonna become your own teammates at the Olympics. How is
Yeah.
that funny or is that weird or does that brotherhood build up on the trials or like how do you guys have the relationship with the other triple jumper, Will Clay, Christian Taylor at the Olympics?
Yeah.
What kind of relationship do you guys have?
So I think we're all cool with each other off the track and even on the track. Like it's not like it's like we're competing against each other. I think we want to see the other succeed, but we don't necessarily want them to beat us either. So it's like a brotherhood, but like I mean I don't have any like brothers. I grew up with sisters, but I've been around enough guys with brothers to know that you fight your brothers sometimes, and sometimes like you try you try to hurt your brothers sometimes. Like. and that's what you got to do just to kind of like establish your dominance. And I know everybody kind of handles it differently. For myself, I'm generally reserved, and it's like what something when I'm on the runway, I might start yelling, but when I yell at the crowd, or it's like I'm pumping myself up because I don't want to affect anybody else. I really just want to affect myself. And then for others, they might talk shit to somebody else. Um, they might uh they might close themselves off. They might I start dancing. Like everybody's kind of doing their own thing. But after the meet, it's usually no love lost. It depends on how depending on how far you go. But yeah, overall, I would say, especially the people that have seen each other at the same championships over and over again, we're boys. We want to see each other succeed, and it's nice to be able to reminisce about the battles that we fought.
Um, I was just listening to you, and it was really interesting when you referred back to the Olympic trial as like a bloody fight. Some people are talking trash to each other. Some people are like firing themselves up before the competition on the runway and so on. And you guys also touched a little bit on the topic between the three of you, because I think big chunk of your career was like mainly about like the three of you guys, Will Clay, Christian Taylor, and you. I would narrow this down a little bit, and since those two guys were, graduating from the same college, they were both from Gainesville, Florida, and you
Yeah.
were the quote-unquote Chula Vista guy. Um, I'm just curious, like, what was the vibe like in the core room between the three of you, or like, was it like a main chapter, and how should we visualize the duality and like the clash between the three of you?
Yeah, so I would say it was definitely Gators versus the world, and rightfully so. It was it was Will, Christian, it was Omar Craddock, it was Marquise Dendy. Like they always had somebody that could like take my spot or just even like I mean even take one of Will or Christian's spot. But because those they were all those like four or five like they were all coming from the same school. They rightfully had a level of camaraderie of like we build jumpers like this at this school. If you didn't go to this school, you're probably not a jumper like this. And it's like rightfully so. So the pride that they had within their school, like you had to respect it. Um, but like whoever made the team is who made the team. But usually when like the Gators make the team, like they're doing their Gator clap together. So it's like they just had a lot of things that like separated them from the other jumpers, and that's why they are jumps you. And it's like you have to respect it. And but I mean, whatever they do over there is what they do over there. You still have to bring your A game. Like, but I mean, it was one year. I think Will, Christian, and Omar like they swept the podium. I can't remember what year it was at USA's, but I feel like it was Omar Craddock made it a point to bring a broom onto the podium to show that to show the sweep. And it's like you just got to sit there and eat that. Like, okay, yeah, y'all did it. Like, big deal. But yeah, the pride was there, and you definitely had to respect it.
I mean, Gainesville is definitely a fascinating powerhouse of many, many events, not just, the jumps, but also the sprints and so on. But I guess it also has inspired you and just made you, bring your absolute A game at every single competition. The next question is kind of a mandatory question on our checklist. Since the name of this podcast is The Cove Room, I got to ask you about your weirdest or like most memorable or like funniest moment that you have ever seen in the Cove Room.
Yeah.
Maybe from
So,
JUCO? Because the
Yeah, for
competitions
example.
are a little different than D1 and Europe and JUCO. I've heard there are a
uh,
lot of funny stuff happening in JUCO meets.
so JUCO, we don't even have a call room. Like, it's like
Oh, wow.
you just show up. Like, yeah, JUCO is like it's like college junior or like no, yeah, college light or extended high school. Like, I wish we had call room. It was such a we don't even do indoors in this JUCO that in California. So, but I have an embarrassing story about the call room. So I don't even. It's I did so bad, dude. That's the thing. Like I said, my first Diamond League meet, and I'll try to make it fast. I'll keep the details because the details comfort me about the story. But um, I my first Diamond League meet, it was Paris Diamond League in 2014, and it was just like a blur of an event for me because I found out I was going last minute. I pretty much got into the meet because I had jumped 17 meters and then I did really well at USA's. But you kind of like you get into Diamond League meets based on availability, especially if you're not just like top in the world already. So I already had planned on going over to Europe to do some competitions. I was supposed to start somewhere in Italy, and then I think I was maybe going to be able to go to Glasgow. But a couple of days before the meet, before the Paris meet, I get a call from my agent like, "Hey, you got into Paris. You got to leave like 2 days, 2 or 3 days." And I'm like, "All right, bet." Like I'm not turning that down. End up having to leave on 4th of July, which is Independence, like a holiday out here. So, but my flight out of I gotta make sure I don't need to give you guys all the details. My flight out of San Francisco got delayed, so I ended up having to stay an extra night in Montreal. I get to Europe, 8 hour time difference the day before the competition. So, needless to say, my brain was very discombobulated. Get to the meet, and I'm over here just pretty much like I won't say I'm overwhelmed, but I'm absolutely whelmed. I'm absolutely whelmed by the situation. They have a practice track, and there's people all around the practice track, and it's like you have to go. You do your warm up on the practice track, and then they walk you underneath the stadium, and it's this long walk, like a super long walk. And I'm sure anybody that has been in a pressure situation, your stomach might start to do some funny things, which I mean is normal, right? It's like, yeah, usually there's a bathroom close just in case. So they're walking us under, and my stomach is starting to do some funny things. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, okay, I really need to use the bathroom right now, and it doesn't seem like there's a bathroom in sight, and there's no way I'm about to go in front of this big ass stadium and try to jump, having to use the bathroom the way that I need to use the bathroom. So we're walking underneath, and I swear it's like it feels like it's like a mile underneath this stadium to get to the car room. And I get to the car room, and it's full of French people, and I don't speak French, but I'm like panic. I'm looking around like, so how am I gonna do this? Like, is there a bathroom close? So I look around, and I ask them like, hey, so I'm all like timid, like, is there a timid at a freaking Diamond League meet? Like I'm over here like I'm over here just like quiet, like, hey, is there a bathroom around here I can use? And they point me in this direction, and it's like, I mean, when you use the bathroom, you want to be comfortable. You could hear the crowd cheering in the background. I'm sweaty as hell. I feel like I took the most like I just felt disgusting doing what I was doing. It's a normal thing, but I felt so gross. Felt so gross. Took the quickest number two of my life. Didn't feel like I was finished, but had to accept that I was finished. Got out of there, went into the competition, and jumped the worst I have ever jumped at a Diamond League. I
What
had
did you
no
do?
like. I might have I think I might have gotten second to last or third to last, only because somebody scratched. But I'm pretty sure Yulimar Rojas might have beat me that day on her best day. But I mean, she's of course a great triple jumper, but there's no reason why a professional triple jumper should be jumping 15 meters. I was very overstimulated, but that was my first Diamond League experience, and I mean, for me, like I learned from the moments. Like I kind of I come in like I don't I understand the fake it till you make it, but I would rather like adapt to what's going on. So from there, I adapted, and like I got better at competing at those Diamond Leagues. But that first one, yeah, the pressure cooker was on, and I won't say I handled it that well, to be honest.
Thank you for sharing this story. I think so far you have the best Quorum story of the year. So yeah,
Oh
we appreciate
gosh,
you sharing
yeah.
this with us.
Oh
So
yeah, I
from
did. Go ahead. Yeah.
so from silly conversations, like we have to continue. Like there's no way we stop from here. Let's say, since COVID, we don't know what's gonna happen with this word. Maybe let's say there's a zombie apocalypse.
Mhm.
You can choose three of the athletes, anyone in track. Which three of them would you pick to fight off a zombie apocalypse or just, survive? What's your squad, your
True.
roster? How would you divide the roles?
So when I thought about this, I was like, at first I was thinking like, okay, like who are just the most athletic people, like that I would want to be around. But then as I thought about it, it was like, nah, I just would want vibes for real. Like I would want to be around people that I enjoy. So it's like first one I would choose is my college roommate. He's a 235 meter high jumper. He went to world championships with me in London. His name is Brian McBride.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Very great high jumper. And he's just one of my closest friends, one of my best friends. And he's extremely athletic. He's very coordinated. So I think, and we think on the same wavelength. So I think that we would. I don't know what his role would be, but I know that we could come up with a good plan. Next one uh, is a Guyanese triple jumper. I'm also Guyanese. So both his parents are from Guyana. My mom is from Guyana. His name is Troy Doris. He got sixth at the 2016 Olympics. And he used to be my training partner at the Olympic Training Center. We both trained with Jeremy back in the day, and our birthdays are a day apart. He's also very athletic. He's very savvy as well. He put me on a lot of great music and just a lot of great like mental things that I wasn't thinking about before living with him at the training center. And the vibes are just high. We both play Super Smash Bros. Like it's yeah, like it's just another one of my close friends or somebody that I met in this track world that I'm glad to have met and I hope to be around for the rest of my life. So that's the second one, and then the last one is also vibes, but I think selfishly, I took into consideration his strength as well. And this is another one of my roommates. His name is Darrell Hill. He's one of the best shot putters of all time. He's I think 2240 is his PB. He's a Diamond League champion. And yeah, we were roommates up in Chula Vista when he was living out here, and he's just incredible vibes as well. He's also an incredible cook. So if we gotta cook up some raccoon or anything like that, I know he's gonna hook that thing up. So yeah, that would be my three for sure.
And also he brings the strength.
That's yeah. So if we gotta drop a boulder on somebody's head or clap two zombie skulls together, I know he's got us.
Okay,
All
nice.
right. A little spoiler alert. I'm having another silly question. I just want to go back so badly to Paris and just erase all the bad memories in connection with
Mm.
Paris. Let's say another theoretical question. If you could go back to Paris for like a Diamond League meet, and let's say you could have a great friend, a good friend of yours, who's a DJ, and you could ask this person to play your favorite song before your final attempt at the Diamond League meet. Which song would you pick?
Yeah, there's so much good music out there. Like, oh, so
Something
this
that
is
could fire you up, for example.
this isn't. I won't say this is my favorite song of all time, but every time I hear this, like I've heard this question, and there's a song by Pusha T, and it's called Numbers on the Board, and the beat is produced by Kanye, and it's like just the beat is crazy. It's so hard, and he's dumping, he's just rapping rugged, like hardcore rap. And in the chorus, he's saying like, "I'm putting numbers on the board," and it's like it just seems so symbolic of what a jumper is trying to do in that moment. So that's the song I feel like would get me pumped up, and it's just like it just seems like theme music at the same time. So Pusha T, numbers on the board.
Okay.
Got you.
We heard, if I'm not mistaken, you're the head coach of women's track and field in Cuyamaca College. Congratulations for the Coach of the Year award. That's a
Oh
big thing,
yeah,
and yeah, hopefully
I
it's
appreciate it.
you can move
I
forward with
appreciate it.
it. And
That's
it's a
the
funny
idea.
thing. It's a funny thing that you're coaching Gen Z athletes. Is there any is there
Tell me
anything that
about it.
already tires you about, us basically any slang that they use, any like training, specific parts that they are like you're really annoyed about? What can you say about Gen Z athletes?
So, slang wise, uh, I I won't use. I'm not going to use the word unk. Like what they did to the word unk, where it's like the like even if they're not trying to be disrespectful, it feels disrespectful when they say it. They could be using it as a term of endearment, and I'm like, yo, like you guys have you guys have worked this word into the ground to where now I can't hear it and not feel defensive. So that's that word. And then I would say like training wise, something that bugs me. Um there it's like it's kind of frustrating and I don't want to class all of Gen Z or just like say that like everybody in Gen Z is like this, but because you guys are in the age of information, um it seems like a lot of Gen Z they're like it's like they're know-it-alls, which and like low key, you guys do know it all. Like you guys, I would say you guys were like Gen Z. Are you guys considered Gen Z technically?
Yeah, I think so.
I would say yeah.
Yeah. So technically, you guys, it's like you guys have all the information and are smart enough to retain it and apply it. But I feel like a lot of the times you athletes will take that and ignore the fact that without experience you can't apply it properly. So it's like they're listening, but because they might have heard it already, they're not processing it like deeply enough. And if it takes time and it takes repetition, and you have to understand what your body is doing. And if you're just going to like the highest level of like accreditation for information, you're not really understanding where you're at in that process and how like maybe somebody at a lower level who is where you're at, it, the information that it took for them to get to the level of understanding to process what they're trying to say, you're going to skip those steps because you feel like you just need to be doing it at the highest level instantly. And it's like, I mean, convenience is king. I understand that nobody really wants to like trudge through the mud to get to the end goal, but like the people that are willing to are actually going to get to the end goal where a lot of other people they're gonna like they're not going to be able to understand why they weren't as successful as they were because it's like they didn't really enjoy the process or do the process. And I feel like I noticed that a lot with Gen Z just off the fact that they just off of how they're applying themselves. It's like it's not like they're not applying themselves, but the frustration that they have when they don't get it right the first time is like that. It really bugs me where it's like you really like I know you understand this, your brain knows what it's doing, but your synapse have not connected this pathway but three times. And if you think that you can outdo human development or like what is it when like I can't think of the word. Basically like the progression of how humans work over the history of time. If you think that you can outdo that just from having information, you can't. Nobody like you have to get your 10,000 hours. You have to like do it wrong a bunch of times and you have to be optimistic about the process and being frustrated that somebody else can do it on their first try and you think that you should be doing it in that same way as well. Like just little things like that where it's almost like being loud and wrong, where it's like it's just because you have the right information, you think you're right. So little things like that kind of will get to me, but I'll get off my soapbox.
Chris, well, I think you might be a great mind reader because that was this explanation was a very good transition to our next question, which is much more serious. I know that you are a meditation and a big mindfulness guy, and I really enjoyed your explanation about enjoying the process, like end goals, and just being meaningful in certain ways. So um, very interesting because when I checked all your race interviews, you talked a lot about like not being a victim to your own thoughts. And I was just curious, and it would be great if you could share like a story about your biggest mental barrier that you have ever faced, and what tools you use to overcome that mental barrier.
Yeah, so I have two. The first one was in 2015. I had a meniscus tear, and during that year, I also was considering switching to jump for Trinidad and Tobago. Um, and With the meniscus tear and like kind of going through this transitional phase, it was like a lot of pressure I was putting on myself to make the right decision. And that was kind of the beginning of like my mindfulness journey. And I would say being mindful of like what was going on and like how I guess the big picture of what was happening was what really helped me through that. Um, because I think like with knee stuff, people usually will get surgery, but I didn't really want to get a surgery, and I ended up like making the decision to just try to rehab it out, and I got very deep in my in rehab. I started early. It was like and rehab sounds like it would be after a surgery, but I was legitimately just like building up my structure to um, to be able to properly or to be in the right positions perpetually, rather than like trying to get into the right positions through jumping. It was like I was doing a bunch of exercises that would build my core awareness, build my mobility, build my core strength, and that really helped me. That basically like fixed my knee pain, and I ended up not switching to Trinidad, just because big picture wise, it seemed like it was going to be a bigger risk with what I had going on at the Olympic Training Center, and it was one of the like best decisions I made because I made the Olympic team the next year. And I would say that was all just from like that was pretty much through mindfulness. I didn't really realize it at the time. I was being mindful, but I was being mindful for my own benefit, not because I understood that being mindful in this moment was going to help. It just seemed like it made sense at the time. And then the second thing was like so in 2021. Well, I've had hamstring injuries my entire career. My first one was probably in 2011. I actually tore my hamstring at ASU, a grade two hamstring tear. I had to kind of relearn how to run. And then from there, I've had a hamstring, it's like almost hamstring tear, a hamstring injury almost every year. And like by 2021, after like COVID and everything, um, I pretty much started, I damn near started the season with the hamstring tear, or it's like a grade one, like a low end tear. And that'll put a lot of trauma into your movement patterns and a lot of trauma into your brain. And I think that I don't know if there's any studies around this, but I think that there is a large correlation between hamstring injuries and anxiety. And I was dealing with a lot of anxiety coming out of COVID, and then that year 2021, I think I had three hamstring injuries um, before Olympic trials. So what was really difficult about that was that I basically had to come to terms about like if I was okay with being injured or not. And honestly, I was like running at like 75% just because it seemed like every time I would try to push myself harder than that, um, I might get injured. And it's like you can't really expect to jump far if you're not running fast or if you're not pushing yourself. But like from a checks and balances standpoint, it's like, well, how could I expect to jump far if I'm going to have a hamstring injury? Or like if I'm going to get a hamstring injury by trying to jump far, should I be trying to jump far? And it's like I kind of I really had to. Um, it was just like I had to start telling myself that I'm I'm not going to get injured, and if I do, there's ways to fix it. And um, I just had to believe that, and that took a big leap of faith, especially after having uh, like injury after injury after injury, and even at the 2021 uh, Olympic Games, like my hamstrings were still cramping before the competition. It was very hot in Tokyo, and I now being able to think back to it, I would say that a lot that was going on was positional, of course, and like how I was executing, but at the same time. Like I just really wasn't I just really wasn't comfortable. I wasn't executing in a way that I believed that I was going to come out of it healthily or successfully. And just that in itself, what was making me operate closer to injury. So I would say, like, I mean, I went towards the latter part of my career, that was definitely something that continued to hold me back. But now thinking back to it and being kind of like away from it, I can say that like your mind it can get you injured just as well as not hydrating or being in bad positions. And I would hope that anybody listening to this can just kind of like come to terms with themselves and like understanding the power of optimism and the power of taking like there's a lot of power in understanding. So like if you understand biomechanics, you understand like some things about physics and anatomy and like physiology, and just understanding like this is the path of least resistance. Like factually, take comfort in that. Like don't like it, just understand like if your foot is underneath your hips and you're hydrated, you're not going to hurt yourself. Like things like that can really like just those little understandings that can go a long way if you truly believe it. And if you're somebody that's skeptical and you need the information to truly believe it, get that information and take it to heart and don't let cynicism continue to hold you back. Like take the information and grow from it. So yeah,
Thank you for sharing this story. It's
yeah,
I believe whoever is going to watch this podcast is going to learn a lot from you. So we really appreciate it. There's one person that we have to shout out. He's the person who literally made this podcast happen. We're talking
hmm
about Jeremy Fisher, a
yeah,
really famous coach at Chula Vista.
yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about him, his methods, why is he so unique, and why is, working with him, so special? I know a few of his athletes, and they're like, I don't know him personally, just through some Instagram DMs, but he's a fantastic guy. Can you just tell us a few
Yeah.
stories or why he's so unique on the track as a coach?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Jeremy was definitely a huge blessing to my life, especially in my early career. So I would say the what makes him very special as a coach is his big picture perspective and how he understands how everything correlates together. Um, I came from college, I had a lifting coach and I had a jumps coach, and then there was like a sprint coach, and I can't say that all three of them had the mindset to know how everything can correlate together for an athlete's an athlete's success. So when I say an athlete, I mean like an individual's success. So like understanding the individual and being able to like or even understanding the specific event and what they need to be successful. And Jeremy, um, he facilitates a program that is covering a lot of bases for the individual, where it's like, and so of course you have to generalize because you're working with a group, but his weights in correlation with his sprint workouts, and then that on top of how he's plugging that into our jump days. I'd never seen programming like that before, and it definitely helped develop a very deep understanding for the importance of rest, peaking, um, like different sprint endurance phases, or like when to do specific explosive workouts. Even in terms of like he was going like back in the day, he was programming training blocks based on so you take macro and micro cycles. Of course, it's like micro cycles within the macro, so it might be a month of the it might be a month as a macro and then a week as a micro, but then you can even shorten that down into being the week as a macro and then the day as a micro. And then you can expand that back out into being the month as the micro and the quarter as a macro. And then you can expand that out as into the quarter as a micro and then the year as the macro. And then you could expand that out into being the year as a micro in the quad of the year and the quad being the macro. So like that kind of like building on the like how to actually facilitate a program for somebody's development, Jeremy definitely was like it. Seeing what he was doing, and as I started making sense out of that, was very mind opening for me. And on top of that, the vibes, great vibes from that guy. He's he's a funny dude. He's funny. He's cheesy. He's a dad now. He had two kids recently, but when we first met, he was just like the oh, I almost used the word not gonna use it. Not gonna use it. But he was older, but his vibes was he was so chill and he didn't mind being cheesy. He was making dad jokes before he was a dad. Just the cheesiest jokes, but because he was like so forward with it and like it was like cool like he could laugh at himself. He could make fun of others. He might be dancing at practice and he was looking out for his athletes. Especially when the center was like at like full go, where he had like the mental space to be able to give his time to his athletes like that. Those were really great times, and I think that he facilitated what was going on at the center very well, and his big picture mindset of how to utilize all those things was great for a lot of athletes.
It was kind of mind-blowing how you speak about him, and based on what you have said about him, he must be the perfect coach for all the jumping events. But I would like to stick to this coaching track or path for a second, and I want to ask you, do you have anything in your head that could be like a great like coaching myth that is like a very old school method or anything like that that you would ban if you could?
Yeah. So I mean, coaching is extremely nuanced. Yeah, and I don't like to generalize, but because I don't want to take anything away from whatever truth is within the statement, because there's usually a little bit of truth in there with anything that is like withstood the test of time. But I would say getting stronger and faster doesn't always make you jump further. Like if your positions aren't correct, if you don't understand how to get into the right positions, like you might jump shorter with more speed just because you can't control it. Your takeoff might not like you if you were already struggling with the takeoff and getting your foot down at takeoff and then you get faster, it's like it's like putting more energy. It's like putting more horsepower into an engine block that was already close to blowing. Like so I think a lot of people it's like it goes back to like looking for the easy way. I'm gonna just get as strong as I can. I'm gonna sprint my ass off, and then like it's like you're just getting two step closer to your disappointment. When if you would have taken a step back, you would actually be walking towards the success that you were looking for. So yeah, I think just people assuming that if you get stronger and faster, you're going to get better. I wouldn't ban the idea because once you get to a certain point, then like all you can do is get stronger and faster. But I would wish that people would kind of consider it a little bit more deeply as they're progressing their training, especially early in their career.
I see. And one last question. I feel success as a term is quite intangible, and it also varies from person to person. I mean, the definition of success. What do you think? How has your definition of success changed from when you were young, let's say in JUCO, um, compared to how you think about success right now?
Yeah. Um, so when I was young, I was looking for that one big jump. I was always looking for that one big jump. You want that PB, like I just want to hit one. And that was I would say that was my barometer for success. But now I see having a good series of jumps as more success than somebody that just has one big jump. Because having a good series of jumps speaks to you having a true understanding for what's going to make you jump far. And and it's like it shows a better jumper to me. I think that it's like the jumper that jumped far once. It's like even the rankings even speak in the same way, where it's like you're going to accumulate points on your world ranking based off of you jumping far consistently. So I definitely see consistency as success more so than just having a high ceiling.
Thank you. Our time is running out. Is there anything else, any topics you want to talk about? Any final thoughts you want to share?
Um, no topics. I guess like want to leave everybody with a quote. Just want to make sure that I say it right. Um, it is um, don't climb the mountain to be seen by the world. Climb the mountain to see the world.
Thank you
This
so
is
much.
deep. This is really deep. And also thank you so much for the music recommendation. I will certainly check it out.
Yeah,
And the
check it out.
funny
You're gonna enjoy
stories,
it.
the funny
Yeah, no.
stories and the deep thoughts about triple jump. Thank you so much for coming to the podcast. And yeah, I hope you
No,
had a great time. We had a great time, so we
You
appreciate you
really
taking the
needed
time.
this talk.
yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you guys. You guys set up some great questions. You guys were well researched. This was a great interview, and I enjoyed doing it with you guys.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so much.
much. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Chris. Well, good luck with coaching and everything else.
Hmm.
So, yeah, have a great one, and thank you for showing up today.
All right. I
Have a
appreciate you guys.
Take
bye.
All
care.
right.
See you.
Peace.
Bye.
And there's no way I'm about to go in front of this big ass stadium and try to jump, having to use the bathroom the way that I need to use the bathroom.
Women's track and field in Cuyamaca College. Thank you.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
sorry. Congratulations for the Coach of the Year award.